Bonjour! Hello everyone. Welcome to lesson 20. I have just realized that we've had this flag frame up for a really long time, and I have neglected to tell you what country it belongs to. So there's actually a star. The PowerPoint is covering a red star. But this is the flag for Djibouti country. It's a pretty small country in East Africa, like very East Africa, almost the most east. It's bordered by Eritrea, Somalia, and Ethiopia. It's over there right next to the Arabian Peninsula in the Gulf of Aden. Like every other African country we've talked about, almost every other African country we've talked about, they speak French because of colonization, because of the scramble for Africa. And their other official language, like government language, is Arabic. Because, one, they're very close to the Middle East, and a lot of their population is Muslim, and most of the Muslim population speaks Arabic there. There are native French speakers. It's not like some countries where it's basically only a government language. School is generally taught in French, but more ethnic and local languages are what people mostly speak. So, now that we've talked about this flag, let's get into lesson 20. So, this is just going to be the first half. There are two parts to this lesson, basically, and it's how to use reflexive verbs in the imperative and how to use reflexive verbs in the passé composé. This section, how to use reflexive verbs in the passé composé, is going to be a much longer video. This section is pretty short, just how to use them in the imperative. But first, I want to give you all a few more reflexive verbs, just a little bit more vocab. So, s'amuser. S'amuser means to have fun. Je m'amuse toujours quand je suis avec mes copains. I always have fun when I'm with my friends. S'amuser. S'arrêter. S'arrêter means to stop. Le bus s'arrête devant l'école. The bus stops in front of the school. S'arrête. Se dépêcher. Se dépêcher. If you watched the video I posted with the pauvre Monsieur Bernard, I told you what se dépêcher means. It means to hurry. So Marc se dépêche parce qu'il a un rendez-vous. Marc is hurrying because he has a meeting. S'excuser. S'excuser means to be sorry. Je m'excuse parce que j'ai tort. I'm sorry because I was wrong. And se souvenir de. Se souvenir de means to remember. Sorry. To remember. Like the word souvenir, right? Something you buy to remember a place. Est-ce que tu te souviens de moi? Est-ce que tu te souviens de moi? Do you remember me? And just a note, souvenir is conjugated like venir, right? So souviens, viens. Venons, venez, vienne. Okay? That's it. Some new verbs. Now, how do I use reflexive verbs in the imperative? It looks basically like it has every other time we've talked about this, especially when we've talked about how to use verbs that take preceding direct objects in the imperative. So, let's look at the verb se reposer. Se reposer, to rest. So, if I am telling you to rest, repose-toi. Repose-toi. Okay? Rest. You, implied you. Okay? And so, this is the weird thing, but we've seen it happen before, right? So, te is what it would be in a normal sentence. Tu te reposes. You are resting. But that te becomes toi in the imperative, and it gets connected with a hyphen. Repose-toi, rest. Or ne te repose pas, don't rest. So same as with preceding direct object pronouns. In a negative sentence, we don't flip the pronoun in the verb. pronoun still goes in front of the verb and ne pas goes around it. Alright? Reposons-nous. Let's rest. Reposons-nous. Let's rest. Or nous nous reposons pas. Let's not rest. Then, reposez-vous. Reposez-vous. You all rest. Rest. Or ne vous reposez pas. Don't rest. Okay? So it's very similar to what you've seen every other time. Remember, these are the only subjects that you can have in the imperative: you, we, us, and you all. So then, a couple more reflexive verbs. These two reflexive verbs are usually in the imperative. So they are se taire, se taire. If we were in person, you would have heard me say this quite a bit. You would have heard me say taisez-vous quite a bit. But it means to be quiet. Se taire, to be quiet. Tais-toi, be quiet. Taisez-vous, be quiet. It's kind of rude. It's not a super polite thing to say. Taisez-vous generally translated as shut up. Shut up. So slightly rude, but to be quiet, it's generally in the imperative. And then s'asseoir. S'asseoir means to sit down. Once again, if we were in person, you would have heard me say asseyez-vous all the time, because I have you stand up and then I have you sit down. So s'asseoir, to sit down. Assieds-toi, sit down. Asseyez-vous, sit down. You all. Yeah, that's it for this section of the notes. Let's look at your practice really quickly. So, you can see here you've got a word bank. Write what the following people... Nope. Write what you're going to say to the following people in the following circumstances. Use the form tu or vous des verbes de la liste, of verbs in the list. Be logical with your choice. Okay, so you're going to decide if you're using the tu form or vous form of the imperative, depending on the subject, right? So if it's just one person, tu. If it's multiple people, vous. Okay, and then you've got a word bank, so you're just going to have to make a logical choice. So, okay, Sophie et Valérie sont fatiguées. Sophie and Valerie are tired. What would I say to them based on this word bank? What would I say to them? Well, I would probably tell them to rest, right? There are two of them, so I'll use the vous form, reposer, and then I know that my reflexive pronoun has to be followed by the verb connected by a hyphen. Okay, let's look at Patrick, this first one. Patrick est en retard. Patrick is late. Okay, I would probably tell him to hurry, which is se dépêcher. He is just one person, so I'll use the tu form, dépêche, and I'm not going to fill in that accent for now, or I will, just kidding, I'm going to because it looks wrong. Dépêche, okay, now tu is usually conjugated with an S, right? But remember, ER verbs in the imperative, in the tu form, lose their S. So dépêche, and then the reflexive pronoun is te, but you all know that te becomes toi when it's connected at the end by hyphen. Dépêche-toi. Hurry up. Okay, that's it for this section. It's pretty quick. There's only 6 of them. I'll have a key at the bottom for you to check your work. And you all should let me know if you have any questions. Au revoir.